Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my July TBR. The month of July is a little bit hectic for me. First of all, I'm going to put a disclaimer that I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be able to finish all of these books because I am going to be participating in Camp NaNoWriMo next month and trying to draft a new novel, so I don't know if this is going to be doable. However, I have some lofty goals. I have 3 readathons that I'm going to be participating during the month of July. The first one is Summerween, hosted by Olivia Reads a Latte. This one is going to be happening between July 2nd and 8th, and then the other 2 are month-long TBR, or month-long readathons. The first being the Olympic Games, hosted by Ishi and Sasha and a bunch of other people that I will leave links for in the description, as well as the pop culture readathon hosted by Whitney. There are a lot of different prompts that I am going to be trying to fulfill, so let's see if I can get through this as quickly as possible. I'm going to start off easy, and the first book that I'm going to be trying to read during the month of July is actually my book club pick for the month of July, and that is All Boys Are Blue by George M. Johnson. This is a Black queer young adult memoir in which George talks about his life growing up as a Black queer man and his struggles with his sexuality and his identity. Super excited about this one. I've been wanting to read it for a very long time, so I'm excited that my book club is picking it up. Moving on to Summerween, there are 3 reading prompts that I'm going to try and complete. There are a couple other prompts that aren't reading related that are just things to do, so I'll start with the ones that require books. The first prompt is to read a book with Halloween colors in the cover, and so for that I'm going to be reading People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry because it is orange on the cover. This story tells the story of Poppy and Alex, who were childhood best friends, and after one fateful summer where Poppy seems to mess up their relationship, they haven't really spoken since. Poppy decides that she is determined to rekindle their friendship and invites Alex on one more summer vacation to try and mend their bridges and bring their friendship back. She has 1 week to make it right, and what could possibly go wrong? I read Beach Read last month and I really enjoyed it, so I'm very excited to see what Emily Henry's next book does for me. The next prompt is to read a horror novel, and for that I'm going to be reading Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. I don't really know a whole lot about this book. I've heard it's really messed up and really weird, and I'm really excited about it. I'll just read like the blurb at the top here. It says, it's a seductive, gothic-infused debut of literary suspense set with a secluded elite university and following a dangerously curious, rebellious undergraduate who uncovers a shocking secret about an exclusive circle of students and the dark truth behind her school's promise of prestige. Dark academia, academic setting, gothic, which is like a amazing instant read word for me. I'm planning on doing a PhD in Gothic Lit, so that definitely helped me pick this out. And I don't know, I'm super excited to see how weird it actually is. And finally, the last prompt for Summerween is to read a paranormal book, and for that I'm picking up Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. This is another dark academia book set at a boarding school, however this one deals with, I think, ghosts, so super excited about that. This one's massive as well, so again, don't know a hell of a lot about it. I know that it's queer, I know that it is dark, I know that it is a thriller, and I'm super excited about it. Plain Bad Heroines is also going to count for a prompt for one of the pop culture readathons I'm doing. This round of pop culture readathon is a month long, and it's going to be focusing on movies from the 2000s. There are 4 different bingo boards that you can try and complete. I'm going to try and complete a bingo on the Teenage Dream board and on the Thriller board. This is going to count as a prompt on the Teenage Dream board, which is a book featuring supportive best friends, and I've heard that is a very big part of Plain Bad Heroines, so I'm excited about that. Next up is my TBR for the Olympic Games readathon. For each of these, just to make it easier for me to read, I'm going to try and condense each of the readathons into 1 week. The Olympic Games is a readathon that this is its 2nd year running. I participated last year and adored it, and it is based on Percy Jackson and the Olympians. So for this one, you have to go and complete the quiz over on the Rick Riordan website in order to find your godly parent, and then that is the team that you are participating for in the readathon. I got the same one as I did last year, so I'm on Team Hades. Very exciting for me. And each team has different prompts that they are required to complete. There's also a set of bonus prompts in which I'm going to be trying to complete, but I'm going to be using the bonus prompts The books that I'm going to be reading for the bonus prompts are going to count for a different readathon, so I will talk about them after. But anyway, there are 5 main books that I need to read for the Hades cabin, and this is my TBR for that. The first book is going to be The Last Namsara by Kristen Ciccarelli. This one I've had on my TBR for much too long, and it is about dragons, and let me just read the back of it a little bit for you. It says, "In the beginning there was the Namsara, the child of sky and spirit, who carried love and laughter wherever he went. But where there is light there must be darkness, and so there is also the Iskari, the child of blood and moonlight, the destroyer, the deathbringer." This book follows Asha, who is a esteemed dragon slayer, one of the best in their land, and she ends up taking up the mantle of the Iskari and becoming the Deathbringer. However, she seems to be remaining in shackles at home. She is betrothed to a cruel commandant and is under the rule of her father. However, she's given the chance to earn her freedom by bringing back the head of the worst dragon in the land. And it's a big adventure story, quest story, and I'm super excited about it. Again, I've had this for much too long. I've heard really good things about it from a few of my friends. I think Soleil really enjoyed this, and I'm excited to give it a go. This book I'm also using as my buzzword book for July, because the buzzword for the buzzword readathon is a book with last in the title. This is the only book I own that has last in the title, so I'm going to be picking it up for that. And then for the Hades prompt, it counts as a book with a dark cover. Next up, I'm going to be reading The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is the first book in the Farseer trilogy, and is one book that I've been wanting to read for a long time. A bunch of my favorite YouTubers like Jade and Ashley do a Robin Hobb readathon or read-along all of the time. They're always reading a different Robin Hobb book, and I've been wanting to read her books for so long since then. This follows Fitz, who is the disgraced bastard son of the king, who is exiled and trained to be a great assassin. However, there are a lot of things lurking in the dark, and Fitz's tutor is determined to dispose him and kill him, but Fitz needs to survive because he's also fated to be the savior of this kingdom. That's all I know about it. I have the entire trilogy, and I'm really excited to finally read my first Robin Hobb. And this readathon gave me the perfect opportunity, because one of the Hades prompts is also to read a book where the main character has a hidden identity, and assassins have hidden identities. So I am excited about this. Next up, the next Hades prompt is to read a book that is a standalone, so I'm going to be reading Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutano. This is a adult romance that follows, what's her name? Madeline, who ends up accidentally killing her blind date, and she has to enlist her crazy aunt and her eccentric mother in order to help her hide the body. However, they run a wedding planning business, and the body ends up accidentally getting shipped to a wedding on a tropical island, and they have to try and fix the problem while it also being a romance. I don't know how it works. I've just heard great things about it, and I'm really excited about it. Next up, I'm planning on reading The Tyrant's Tomb by Rick Riordan. This I've also had on my shelves for much too long. This is the 4th book in the Trials of Apollo series, which is the 3rd trilogy set in the Percy Jackson world. This trilogy follows the god Apollo, who has been cast down from Olympus by Zeus due to his actions during the Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus series. He is dropped down on Earth with none of his powers in the body of a 14-year-old boy with acne and social awkwardness. And he has to try and make his way in the world before he can atone for what he's done. However, he is also trying to save the world from the Triumvirate, which is a group of ancient Roman emperors that are determined to take over the world. This has a great cast of characters I absolutely adore, and I'm so excited to continue on with the series and get to the final book, which came out last year, and I'm really excited to get to it. This I'm reading as my random TBR pick for the Hades prompts, and I'm also going to be reading it for a pop culture readathon. I'm going to be reading it for the thriller bingo that I'm trying to get. This will fulfill the prompt of reading a book featuring a shifter, because Apollo himself is a shifter and the gods of Olympus are shifters. So super excited about that. And then next up, I'm going to be reading Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This I'm reading for the prompt of reading a book with a wealthy main character for Hades, and also for Pop Culture Readathon. This one will fulfill a prompt for the Teenage Dream category, and it'll fulfill the prompt of reading a book that takes you to another time and place. This is a historical fiction novel set in the 1980s, and it follows the 3 children of the eccentric and famous rock star Mick Rava. Every year they throw this crazy beach pool party, and this story follows each of the children leading up to and during the party. And you know that at the end of the party, the entire home ends up in flames. I love The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six, so I'm very much looking forward to this. It is one of my most anticipated books of this year, and I cannot wait to start it. There are 5 more books on my TBR, the first being Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This I am reading for the Pop Culture Readathon. The thriller bingo, fulfilling the prompt of reading a ghost story. This is a story that is a adult horror novel, kind of akin to The Haunting of Hill House, in which a main character is going to this haunted house that I believe she grew up in, and there were many different stories about the place being haunted, stories about her parents, and she is going there to figure out what's going on, I believe. I don't know a ton about it, but I really enjoyed The Haunting of Hill House, and this is my first Riley Sager book that I've heard many great things about. I'm going to be listening to the audiobook, and it's going to be great. Also for the thriller category, for the Pop Culture Readathon, I'm going to be reading Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala. This I'm reading for the prompt of reading a book with food on the cover, because it's got a giant bowl of adobo. This one was created for the Zombieland prompt, I believe, which is one of my favorite movies, so I'm excited about that. This tells the story of Leela, who moves back home to recover from a breakup and ends up working for her Tia's restaurant. Lila has to deal with her matchmaking aunties while she's working at her Tia's restaurant and trying to avoid all rom-com tropes as she goes. However, when a really nasty and famous food critic, who also happens to be her ex-boyfriend, dies after eating at the restaurant, she is pulled into a huge investigation and is considered to be the main suspect. Because of that, she ends up undergoing her own investigation to try and figure out who killed her ex-boyfriend. This is a part of a new series, I believe, called the Tita Rosie's Kitchen Mysteries, and it is considered to be a cozy mystery, which I'm so excited to read because I love cozy mysteries like a la Agatha Christie, so very excited about this one. The last book that I'm going to be reading for the thriller bingo board is going to be House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. This I am reading to fulfill the prompt of reading a YA horror book. This follows 3 sisters who, when they are children, end up disappearing for an entire month. They disappear for an entire month, and when they return, they have absolutely no memories of where they were. As they grow up, different weird things start to happen around them, and there are certain physical changes to them that occur. And then the youngest of these sisters, Iris, is just trying to graduate high school when she's 17, something that her globe-trotting famous older sisters never ended up doing. But then when she finds out that one of her older sisters, Gray, has gone missing again, Iris has to work with her family and to try and uncover the mystery. This book I've heard amazing things about, like nothing but good things about, so I am extremely excited to get into this. I'm excited because a lot of these books are going to give me great Halloween spooky vibes, and I am so ready for it. The last 2 books here are going to fulfill the last 2 prompts on the Teenage Dreams bingo board for the Pop Culture Readathon, the first one being The Beautiful Ones by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I love Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Mexican Gothic is one of my favorite books of all time, and my really good friend Kayla has read this book like 6 times this year, so highly recommended. The only thing I really know about it is that it follows our main character Nina, who is telekinetic, and it is set in this Regency Victorian style socialite-filled aristocratic world. She has to work with another telekinetic in order to bring her powers to life, basically, and to learn more about them. This is going to fulfill the prompt on the Teenage Dream board of reading a book that sticks it to the patriarchy, because Sylvia Moreno Garcia tends to do that, and I have high hopes for this. Finally, the last book on my TBR for July is one that's been on my TBR shelf for much too long, and that is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. This is a YA fantasy novel following 2 characters, Lou and Reed. Lou is a witch who has fled her coven, and Reed is a witch hunter. The 2 of them end up under weird circumstances having to actually get married. However, Reed does not know that Lou is a witch, and she has to try and keep it a secret from him. I am reading this to fulfill the prompt of reading a book with a and symbol in the title, an ampersand, which this one has a massive one, so this is going to work really well for me, and I'm very excited to read this book. It is one that I've heard very mixed reviews about as well, but somebody who loves witchy things and loves YA fantasy and enemies to lovers, I am very excited about this, and I have very high hopes, so hopefully it goes well. But yeah, that is my TBR for July. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be insane. It's going to be massive, and I really hope I can get to it, but again, Caveat, I am doing Camp NaNoWriMo, so who knows if that's actually going to happen, but wish me luck. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up because it really does support my channel, and leave me a comment down below letting me know your most anticipated book on your July TBR. If you're new here, please subscribe. I put out new bookish and writing videos every week, and I hope you guys have a lovely day. Bye-bye.